Daily Market Commentary. I am your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope everybody had an amazing weekend as we are settling in, getting ready for what is to be a pretty fun trading week. Earlier this evening, I had mentioned that I'm doing a little bit of traveling, so the sound may be not completely up to snuff. I'm on the traveling mic. And so I did mention that it looked like there was room for the S&P to fall on a tweet. And hopefully some of you were able to take heed of that, as we have fallen about 10 points since I put that little tweet out. Not that there was a great opportunity, to get back in. So let's look and see where we are as far as today. For those of you new to the channel, do me a favor, click that little subscribe button down below so that you get the updates as they become available. We look at the same 10 to 12 futures markets every day, but the most important thing is we leave the lines on the charts. And we leave the lines on the charts because I want you to see how trades develop over time from an educational perspective. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So starting first with the S&P. Now we still have a breakout long way up high in the S&P. And then a potential reversal way down low. But until then, there's really not a whole lot in here. Now, we have put in a potential reversal point up here that we may hit in the overnight hours. So I'm going to kind of set this lines up here. This would be my reversal point for the overnight hours. Now, it's not a great... It's not a super high probability area, so I'm going to switch it to a little bit of a dashed line because this could be a place where if we get a rally up in the wee hours, somewhere around the London Open, this could be a pretty good reversal opportunity. We're not quite there yet, and I'd need a little bit of a rally to get there, but I think that could be another opportunity to come back down. All in all, I'm still looking for this as our better reversal point, and so price hasn't gotten there yet, so we're giving it a little bit of time to get to that level. The Nasdaq had been our stronger performing market. Now, we did have a little reversal trade set up in place here for the Nasdaq, and we got a little bit of movement off of it right through here, but not a whole lot of movement came from that area. So now we've broken down through that level. I'm going to zoom out a little bit on this one. Now, I was speaking to a group of traders this weekend, and so I think actually I had added that line a little bit later with that group of traders that I spoke to this weekend in beautiful Houston, Texas. So those of you that were at the traders group, great to have you. Do me a favor, throw a little comment in the section below. It always helps the little algorithms in there. This level right here would be the equivalent of the level that we identified in the S&P. Now, I'm not in love with this. I like the S&P level a bit more, so I'm going to remove this. But I do really like this level right here. This, to me, is fairly far away, but this, to me, is a really good opportunity in the Nasdaq if price does indeed return. So it's fairly far away. We got a couple of areas and a couple of opportunities around us, but those are going to be the two areas I look for in the Nasdaq. We could get a breakdown below current price, and you could get a decent shot through there. Let's take a look at crude oil. Now, crude oil, we had talked about this area here for price making a strong move down. And if you notice, we did get price trading into it, and then it did trade to its opposing fair price value area. So a little one-to-one reversal style trade. It kind of got down to that level. But then the next time, look what it did. Blew right through it. Actually turned into what would have been a really good breakout opportunity. I can't give any credit for it simply because we didn't have it marked off ahead of time, and I certainly didn't have the trade set up myself. So as of today, we've gapped down at the open, and crude oil is continuing to trade a bit lower. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this area down here. Now, I'm going to switch to the 15-minute chart. You guys know that I go to the 15-minute chart when I'm looking for lower probability entry points. Now, I would normally, you're not really going to see this level on the hourly chart, the fact that it's already been retested. When I move this back to the hourly chart, you won't be able to see this area as clearly on the 1 hour chart, the fact that it has been retested. It's this high wick that comes down. So on the 15-minute level, I don't really want to rely on this, but I'm going to go a bit lower, and I'm going to come down to here and see if we can't get a little bit of a reversal off of this area right here. Now, because I found it on the 15-minute chart, I've got to change the color. Anytime we go to a smaller time frame, we've got lower degrees of probability. So we change our colors to a purple line, and we'll see what price looks like when it returns to that area. But that's pretty much all I see in crude oil at the moment. Gold, solid gold. So gold, we are still above our breakout point. We could get a decent reversal right up here. Unfortunately, didn't quite trade into it yet, and we're already starting to move away from it. So I'm not going to add anything in gold as of yet. I'm going to leave this gold position be kind of where it is, as it's really continuing that fall off of those highs. Looking here at the bonds, so the bond market still chopping along sideways, not a whole lot to add in the bonds. You know, kind of tempted to look up here at a potential reversal. For those of you that are so inclined, I think we could get a reversal right here. It's not a super great probability, so I am going to look at this before price gets here, so keep an eye on it. For now, let's do this. Let's put a dashed line to it instead of a solid line. Only because now I may very well change that decision if we get a good arrival into this level. Looking at the Aussie level, we still have it above us, hasn't quite gotten there yet. Showing some double top style weakness. This actually could be a decent opportunity to get short on a breakdown below this area here, if you're so inclined in the overnight hours. The euro, nothing to write home about in the euro that's kind of sticking out. And then the Canadian dollar, we've broken down below our breakout point. It's kind of continuing its move down. At the very least, you should have moved your stop to about this area here to lock in some of those profits, if indeed you held it over the weekend, which I know a number of people would not have held it over the weekend. Looking a little bit longer term on the, we got to go all the way out to the daily chart, it looks like. Going all the way out to the daily chart, we're getting a little bit of support off of this area here, but not a tremendous amount of support. So there's chances for it to continue to go down, even from here down into this range right there. That's 74.26 area. Great British Pound, Japanese Yen. We did have price come into our area in the pound. Nothing really exciting happening out of it, so I think it's time to close this position. It's actually now, because this position is no longer valid, it's now time to look at this as a potential breakdown. This is a good breakdown opportunity now because I've got kind of those lowering swing highs, same swing lows. So look at this as a potential breakdown for price to come because there's room to roam. Remember, in a breakdown, I need room to roam, and that's exactly what's setting up here in the British pound. Japanese yen, we got nicked by a tick, and we almost got filled here. Weren't able to get filled. We've come back close to it again and are not able to get filled. So that's going to scare me off a little bit, enough to change my entry to a confirmation style entry, as well as enough to make me shrink up the zone just a smidge to just the upper half. I don't love it like I did before, and so in doing so, I'm going to reduce my risk tolerance for it. Copper, I've got a little bit of a level up above us here that might be worth taking a look at later on if price does get into there. And then nat gas, we still have a level way up above us. So overall, some fairly good opportunities heading into this week. I think that we may get a breakdown below here in the S&P, at least to take us all the way down into here. So we'll see, exactly what happens there. I don't want to leave that one on because I'm not totally sold on it yet. But I think that, for those of you that are more the breakout style, down here below 27.38, you may get a decent entry all the way down to 27.18. Pick up a fair amount of points on that move. I'm actually working on, I've gotten a lot of requests from listeners over the course of the past couple of weeks to look at individual trades, specifically regarding options and individual equities. I have something kind of in the works for that, so be on the lookout for a big announcement coming in the next couple of weeks. We are finally almost done with our live trading rooms and things like that. So be on the lookout as I'll be announcing kind of what that's going to happen. It won't really affect the daily market commentary any, but it will give you more opportunities if you want to look at another asset class and such. So thanks so much, everybody. Appreciate you joining us today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email, and I will gladly reach out to you. Thanks so much, everybody. Talk to you soon. Later.